share. Great. So, good afternoon to all of you that have joined us so far. Thank you for joining our Rutgers Alumni Association LinkedIn series. We're going to get started in a few minutes, let a few more people join, but I wanted to get some housekeeping items out of the way. All attendees are muted and the chat function and the cameras are disabled at this time. So this will be recorded and you will have access to the recording on the Rutgers Alumni Association YouTube page. I'll share the link at the end. And so certainly able to visit there anytime, as we encourage you to do that to begin with. That said, we will open this up for questions after the presentation. So please feel free to add any questions as they come up in the questions and answers section below. So I'm going to kick it off with a quick introduction, but then jump right into the content of the LinkedIn series on aligning your skills with job application requirements. I'm Donna Usiskin. I'm Chief Strategy Officer for New Enterprise Ventures. It's a boutique consulting firm focused on healthcare and pharma IT solutions. So working with startups to Fortune 500 companies, I've worked as an entrepreneur in sales and marketing executive roles and spent 12 years in venture capital and served as an advisor and coach for CEOs on strategy, growth, and raising funds. Enough about me. Let's jump in to why you're all here today. And hopefully, as I go through this process, you'll be able to apply some of these skills. So let's dive right in. These are the topics I'm going to cover over the next 15 minutes or so, and I'll take questions, as I said, open to questions to take at the end. So what's the process for aligning your skills with specific job requirements? First, you want to systematically evaluate or decode the job description for the role that you're interested in. And we're going to pull it apart, pay more attention to the less technical words. From there, we want to talk about building your master skill set and then how to customize your resume and cover letter by incorporating those relevant keywords and denoting kind of quantifiable accomplishments. This approach essentially illustrates to potential employers how your specific enterprise experience aligns with their needs, thereby enhancing your candidacy for the role. I'll touch briefly on addressing when you lack specific skills that also, you want to align with the company, and also how you can better align with the company, not just the role for your own specific goals. So let's start with the job description. This is an active post pulled right off the internet in the last day or two. It's an entry-level position for students expected to graduate May 2027. One might immediately look at this opportunity as an undergrad and dismiss it, thinking, I've never been in sales or don't have any CRM experience. I can't do any of this. But let's really analyze what they are looking for in under the responsibilities. The responsibilities they list here are sandwiched between lots of different skill sets. If we take the post and highlight just those keywords, outbound cold calling, email campaigns, training, ability to educate and motivate. This is what they're looking for. To take just a minute to digest that, just the skills. Then start to make a list of those you possess. Have you ever been part of an outbound call activity? Train someone? Do you tend to motivate people as part of a team, a club, during a class project? Which one of these basically sounds like you? The next section is under requirements, but let's look beyond the technical requirements. The employer, the recruiter, or even AI can easily see if you have a degree, the degree you're pursuing, the field of study, the former job experience. They may not be able to really gather from your resume or some of the skills you already have from other experiences that may meet these requirements, even if it's not a direct job experience. They are looking for someone who has experience in sales, is a multitasker, highly organized, has good writing, verbal, and presentation skills, and is a problem solver. Is that you? Have you thought about yourself regarding those specific skill sets? Do some of these skills not resonate with you at all? That's important too to recognize. Do you dislike presenting? Then this may not be the actual right job description for you, right? They're not the right role. And those are important things to recognize too. Ask yourself or others, what are your innate skill sets? You've had them probably all your life. What have others told you that you are really good at? Build yourself a list, not from thin air, but directly from real job descriptions. Copy and paste those job descriptions that you're wanting to apply for. Start a running list. Where do you align? Which skills keep coming up? And are there ones you don't have? Because you need to make a list of those too, understanding if that's the role that you're going for. Once you have a list, now rank your skills. Which are your strongest? Which do you enjoy? Which can you do, but you prefer maybe not to do? Make sure you understand that portion of it as well. And let's start thinking about how can you add those skills into your current resume and your cover letter to align with those specific roles that you're applying for. So we want to start to integrate those specific skills and keywords directly into your resume bullets. So how does your resume or cover letter read now? Do the bullets just list what you did, the particular duties and or tasks? It's pretty normal. It's pretty normal. Even with my various years of experience in several different jobs, when you start to rewrite your bullets when you move from one job to another, you just start kind of this list of things you do in that role. In this specific example, it cites in the resume that as a camp counselor, managed group activities, responsible for camper safety, and oversight project and cleanup duties. I'm using a very basic example of a camp counselor to prove a point here. You don't always need experience at a certain level to be considered for a position. You just need to demonstrate that you have the underlying skill set. Basically, that you have potential. That's what the employer is looking for. Let's take a different approach and revise these bullets and highlight the skills and experience that directly match the requirement for the specific job posting for a sales intern. Some of you may have seen this formula before. I like to use it. I think it's easy and to assemble with this formula to write and revise resume bullets. And I certainly encourage folks to revisit their bullets from time to time and try to go through this formula over and over again. First, by starting each bullet with an action verb. Presented, provided, boosted, achieved, accelerated. Use those action verbs to just initiate that first start of the bullet. In this case, we used two of the skill sets that were highlighted: organized and motivated. Next, after the action verb, you identify the job at hand. What did you do? You led the group, trained and transitioned colleagues, completed assignments, followed by the most important piece of this, quantification. Put some numbers around each bullet. The number of people involved, the number of transactions, give it some parameters per day, in a week, and then add the results. Why are you doing this? To what end? By using this formula and aligning the skills highlighted earlier, you've converted two bullets under camp counselor to cover 4 of the skill sets they're seeking for a sales intern position. This is where you need to leverage AI. The engines are out there. They're searching for matches. If you've already identified your core skills and included them in your resume for the job roles that are asking for those kinds of skills, you've just increased the probability of a successful match. It's a win-win for both you and the employer. For each core skill, you will need to list specific achievements where you use that skill to produce a positive outcome. Quantifying these achievements with metrics, 15% increase wherever possible. It's key to remember to use your experiences. Highlight achievements that could be education, volunteer experience, extracurricular activities to really demonstrate your skills. If you're in college full time right now, you may only have summer work experiences to draw from. You need to use what you have. So that could be schoolwork, research, class projects, even that you organized a huge family reunion or vacation. Skills can be demonstrated by any experience that you have. In this resume example, the extracurriculars kind of highlighted the skills for the sales intern position. The resume demonstrated she had done an email campaign for her sorority. Very successful outcome, 43 registrants. Okay, so she has email campaign experience. She may not have had direct job sales experience, but she demonstrated a skill set of outbound calls for a blood drive. Outbound calls are outbound calls. So from somebody who's managing somebody in sales, that's a significant indicator of someone having the right skill set for this job. Again, potential. Your skill set shows your potential. So plus giving them a sense of how many calls were made in a designated time helps the employer assess that skill set. Did we only do this for a short amount of time because I didn't enjoy it, or did I stay with it? And this is more evidence of me being able to do this kind of position. To have any weight or credibility, trust with the employer, skills need to be woven into stories. So your resume can kickstart those stories, but you will need to be well-versed on how you applied that skill in that scenario. This is easy. It's natural. It's your story, right? Making the interview process easier for you, less stressful, and quite frankly, much more interesting for the employer. For example, when you start recalling being a camp counselor and trying to corral 5-year-olds to clean the cabin, just imagine the image in the employer's head or the interviewer's head. Or the 5 weeks that you volunteered to make calls for blood donations. These are real cited examples, and give them some context to really dig in and learn more about you, which is a far more better interview. Both of these examples create an opportunity for an interviewer to ask additional questions that can demonstrate additional skill sets, such as patience, perseverance, and resilience. Who doesn't want to hire someone with those skills? This leads to 2 last points, and then I'll take some questions. What if I'm lacking some skills? That's okay. It's all right that you're not going to have every single skill set that's on there, especially early in your career. Are you demonstrating that you're willing to learn? Again, potential, right? What's your potential to want to keep learning? Have you taken an online course? Google, offers classes, Coursera, there's LinkedIn offers classes. Posting on LinkedIn that you just finished another program, certificate, shows that you're proactively trying to gain more skills. And they may be skills in something that you know that you're lacking, especially if you're actively seeking employment, showing not only am I applying for jobs, but I'm trying to continue to learn more. Can you find another way to gain exposure to that skill set? Via a freelance job, volunteering, shadowing at somebody's work, joining an association or a group. any other way that you may get exposure. So demonstrating your interest level demonstrates your awareness of what you're trying to bring into and gain experience into your resume, and your commitment to wanting to gain that skill as well as learn. Again, a great signal for a potential employer to know about you. The last way to really align yourself with a job that you're focused on really trying to get is to take a deep dive into the company. Look at the About Us on the website. What's this company's vision, their mission? Has their CEO placed a statement on the website? Look at the human resources page, the careers page. What are they about? What's important to this company that is aligned with your specific values? Do they have employee events, gatherings? Do they do community? Do they community events? Are they associated with a specific cause that's really meaningful to you? Read their recent press. Press on a company is a good insight of whether or not this is the right culture for you. Understand their direction, potential for growth. Maybe they're opening a new facility in or near you or in another city and state that you actually would like to live. If your dream is to live in Boston and you realize they're opening a new facility in Boston, what a great thing to open up at an interview. Let them know, this is my objective. I want to be in Boston. When that Boston office opens, will there be an opportunity for me to transfer? There's probably a lot of folks that don't want to move to Boston. So that actually shows that your objectives are aligned and your interest in the company. These are all good things to be aware of and discussion points, to bring up during your interview. Making you both a memorable candidate and an obvious choice for the role. I'm going to stop here for a minute, and I'm happy to take questions. This is our link at the bottom here, just to make sure everybody knows how to get to our YouTube channel so that you can both see this presentation as well as others. Let me just jump to where I can see the questions that are coming in. 1 second. I'm going to stop showing for a second just so that I can see the answers. If there are any questions out there on the side. Don't have any questions right now. There were chats. Yep. Okay. Well, if there aren't any questions. Oh.
One just came in, Donna.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Thank you so much. As an alum who has graduated a while ago, over 5 years, I'm trying to shift industries from my degree, and I'm facing difficulty in gaining interviews. What advice would you give to someone in my situation? I'm shifting industries. One of the best things you can do is look for industry wires, like look for groups, associations, anything that's happening current in that industry. So start reading about the new industry. If you were in fintech and you're moving on into healthcare, look for opportunities there. I spent quite a bit of time in venture capital, and I'm a huge proponent of looking at startup companies. So look for companies that were recently invested in. A company that's flush with cash will be hiring. And so that creates a really great opportunity to be, aware of when that hiring is actually started. So they get money, there's within 2 to 3 months of that, they will be doing typically a very large hiring spree. So that's a good way. So I would definitely, again, but I will go back to my skills here in the sense that if you, the skill sets you used, and I'm just without knowing, fintech, moving to healthcare, some of those skill sets are exactly the same, right? So if you were detail oriented in one, you can be detail oriented in the other. So I would try to revise your bullets to address some of those as well. Thank you for the question. How many bullets need tangible numbers? I would say every single one can be quantified in some way. In some way, try to find a way to power it up with some kind of number. I would try to. It may only be one a week, but challenge yourself to ask, how much was I doing? How many transactions? How often did I do this? How many people were I with? You work in a lab. How many actual assays were I producing within a certain amount of time? So every time you can quantify a bullet, I would try to do that, even if it's just annually. Another question. My apologies, I have a few minutes late. That's okay. Is there a way to see the earlier slides from the presentation? Thanks for sharing your expertise. Thank you. And thanks for coming, even though I mentioned in the beginning and on the screen, I had also put our YouTube channel. So Rutgers Alumni Association has our own YouTube channel, as well as all of our social media. All of these presentations are there, including previous LinkedIn series events that we've done. We've done one on networking, one on 101. We've done one on managing your time and requirements. And we've done one on LinkedIn, how to prepare your LinkedIn profile. So all of those can be found on our YouTube channel. And this will be recorded and be added as well. Next question. How should your resume and skills be tailored if your skills and experience are not fully aligned with the job description? Again, I think, so let's think, how should your resume and skills be tailored if your skills and experience are not fully aligned? You have, stop and think, what has your relatives or your friends always said about you? Oh my gosh, you're so organized. Like, I don't know how you could be so organized. You have skill sets. It doesn't matter what the job actually is. And I really, really encourage you to look at those roles, responsibilities, requirements of the jobs and forget the kind of technical jargon that's in there. Look at those skill set words. They're there, organized, detail oriented, process oriented. Things are in there that you should be able to say, oh yeah, that's me. And then find a way to say I was process oriented doing XYZ. It doesn't have to be in that specific industry, in that particular role. It shows that you could do that in another facet. Hopefully that's helpful. Would you recommend leaving a previous job? Sorry. Would you recommend leaving previous role job titles out of my resume? I come from a non-HR background. I'm trying to get into that industry. No, I wouldn't recommend that you leave your titles out. I have reworded my previous skills to match the industry related requirements, but I'm finding it difficult to get past my previous titles and gain interviews. Okay, so this is perfect scenario. I think the opportunity here is, again, list the skill sets that you're seeing in these HR. I come from an HR background. I'm trying to get into that new industry. Whatever the new industry is and the roles that you're seeking, look at those job descriptions and roles, and then compare them to the skill sets that you see there that were skill sets that you had in HR, but now write it to that end, right? So write towards those skills being applied in that industry, or say to them, I know I've not been in this industry, But you said you think that, you know, uh, being detail oriented, organized, and a great presenter are what you're looking for the skill. I've not done it in this industry, but I was very organized in my HR. I had 5,000 employees I had to take care of. I was, detail oriented, and give another example, right? And I'm been presenting for the last 10 years what our benefits are to our entire corporation. So giving cited examples that are transferable into that industry. It doesn't matter the industry, it matters the skill sets that are transferable and the potential you have with them. Hopefully that helps. Do you have any more? Thank you. Thank you, Ahmed. Any other questions on the team? Give it another minute. Okay. Well, if there aren't any other questions, again, thank you so much for all of you coming today. Really appreciative of your time. The RAA, don't forget to join as you become alum if you're not alum already. And please visit our YouTube site where additional LinkedIn series can be found. Thank you so much. Have a great day.